Aha! Welcome in
Hey.
to another episode of Muscle Matters. I am your host, Blake Bernard, joined with my co-host, Steve Southers, and the fabulous Tom Touchstone. Guys, no, you're the guest tonight, dude. You get to relax.
I'm a guest.
Yeah, let's ask you questions, bro.
I'm gonna go ahead and put us out there on social media because that's what we do, right, guys?
There it is.
And I'm sending this to my social, and I'm taking up time that I probably didn't need to.
This is great television.
It is.
Steve, hey, you
Yeah.
mentioned just before the show, we were talking about Tom's new supplements, and which he got from you. You have
Yes,
a wonderful
I did.
selection. But we wanted to talk about your blood pressure issues and why you can't take those anymore. Tell me about your quality of life and really just how you get by on the day-to-day selling things you can't take.
Well, I sell things that I can no longer take based on the fact that I used to take all the stuff.
Yeah.
So I know what's good and I know it's not. It's basically, I already had genetic disposition for having high blood pressure. And so once it came along, and then I'm not like the most petite person in the world for my height, so that adds even more to it.
Obviously.
And then the years of taking the enhancements adds to it. So it's basically too much salt. I have to keep my salt under. It's not that I can't take them. I just have to watch how much salt I take. A lot of the things, like the side effect of the high blood pressure is with taking the high blood pressure medicine is the dehydrated kidneys. So with the dehydrated kidneys, I have to watch the amount of phosphate I take in. So a lot of the stuff that sits on the shelf, because of the phosphate. It's a big phosphate chloride type of word, and if it's in there, it's an automatic kidney trigger.
Really?
So like
What does that manifest as? Is it like you get pain or what?
Yeah, it just tightens. You'll just feel them just tighten
Ew.
up because I'm not in failure. They're dehydrated, and it's because of the medication I take. So it's automatic, just like, oh, there it is, tight. So
That is so unfortunate, dude. I am convinced sodium's like a superpower.
Oh, I know it is.
It's like the best performance enhancing drug next to caffeine.
I would, man, the amount of stuff I would have in the glycogens. I would take a glycogen. I take a Waxy. I'd have my my EAAs, my BCAAs, iodine salt. I mean, my in-drink workout concoction was something fabulous, and I had great pumps, great energy. I didn't tire out because the muscle needs salt in order to contract. So without the salt, it doesn't contract. So the pump isn't as good. It sucks.
Mhm.
The endurance goes away.
What Steve is talking about is basically getting older.
True that.
Because the stuff you can do when you're young, I mean, it's free, right, Steve?
Yes, I can't eat. I had to give up red sauce. I can only eat green. That's like
Wait. That's not a real thing.
yes.
So I'm here today.
Oh, quality of life's in the tank.
I'm here today because my friend Steve Southers, who is very more knowledgeable than me, brought in a couple supplements for me to take because he is a friend and he knows so much more about this than I do. And a lot of people think that just because you stood on a stage and you look great, you really knew what you were talking about. And that is so far from the truth. Isn't it true, Steve? I mean, some guys can come in and they don't know what they're doing with training, right? Like
Absolutely.
Well, it
At
falls
every
back.
level.
It falls back to what we were talking about earlier: Booksmart versus
Lab rat.
LabRat. And one of the things that kind of separates our store from other stores is I actually took everything. Like I literally took everything.
Legal and unlegal.
I tried it. Now I can give you an honest opinion. Like, yeah, that doesn't work. Yes, that works. This one over here. So I try to have an honest opinion about everything that comes in the store. I try to take everything.
And you look like you took everything in the store. So the minute someone walks in, they're like, that guy can tell them, point me in the right direction.
Well, that's why when I have people that come and ask me questions, and I don't know if Steve's getting tired of me doing it, but I send them to Steve because I go, don't ask me. I've got a friend that I can send you to and just go into a shop between 2 and 7 or 2 and 6, and he'll be there because he's training people with his knowledge of training. So go in and talk to him about it because really, I'm just old school and I forgot the stuff that I knew.
Well, the most amazing thing is half the supplements are still from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like the key in supplements, the creatine, the amino acids. I mean, it was your brother who actually set me down and turned me on to both of those things. It was funny.
I told him that I saw him this weekend.
He had asked Steve, when you take your creatine, I was like, before you work out. And I felt really smart about that. He goes, okay, when do you take your amino acids? And I'm like, all throughout the day. I used to keep those Unilivers in my truck,
Uh-huh.
and I just get in all day long popping Unilivers. And he looks at me, he goes, "What does creatine do?" Like, I know that answer. It puts water in the muscle. Yes, it does. It gives you a glorious pump. He goes, "So how come you don't use powder aminos?" And I went, why would I do that? And he looks at me and goes, "So we know creatine puts water in your muscle, right?" And he goes, And he goes, "We know that aminos in a powder form are pre-digested and easily to transport, right?" And he goes, "Now imagine if you had your aminos with your creatine, how quickly they would get into the muscle you're using." And he walked away, and I was like, my little dim light bulb kind of did like a little zzz, and it turned on. And ever since then, that is my combination.
Is Tim still a huge powder aminos guy?
Yes.
When I met him, he was coming to BSN like every week for 100 MR or whatever it was.
I think he keeps that company afloat.
Unbelievable.
And he still does it. And I appreciate that because I can't afford it. So that's just flat.
True that.
That's why I don't.
He's blessing them, man.
He is. But so the reason I'm on tonight is I have a heart issue and I have kidney issues. And I know that because my doctor showed me that in my tests. So I don't sit there and pretend to know everything about supplements. And I hate that when people try to make it up and you're going, you don't know what you're talking about. So the other day, my daughter came home and she's got, she's very educated. She goes, "Dad, I think maybe you need to start taking amino acids more." And I go, "That'd be nice, because I don't." And she said, "Because when you get older, it's harder to digest proteins." And I was like, huh. Well, I said, I'm going to run that by my friend Steve, who knows a lot more than that. So I texted him yesterday and go, "Hey, do you have this?" And he said, "I do." So I'm listening to Steve, and he brought me in 2 great products. I put those up there because I trust this man. And I send him people. And I send you people because I trust you with working out. And if you don't have people in your life that can have a little more, smarts in you, and I do believe, Steve, you've got book smarts in your supplementation, and you've got the lab rat experience, how can you beat that?
Yeah. The only
Honestly, how do you go to a guy that has both of those? I told somebody the other day, and they go, "So, Tom, did you do your own drugs, my anabolics, when I was bodybuilding?" I go, "No, I had a guy named Jeff Feliciano and Dan Duchesne." I mean, they were the steroid experts of the day. I don't know that stuff. They just said, "Take this, Tom," and I'm like, "Okay, give me a needle."
People out there that are questioning his daughter. His daughter's absolutely correct. I hate protein powders. Anybody tell you how much I despise protein powders? When people come in and they ask me the first things they should take, I always recommend an amino acid. That's the very first thing I'm asking. And not just an amino acid. You want to make sure it has the essential amino acids, which are the aminos you get from food, because without them, the BCAAs do not unlock the way they're supposed to. Yes, the BCAAs do all these wonderful things, and we're all familiar with the BCAAs, but without the presence of EAAs, it's just not going to work as well. And let's face it, most of us do not eat enough protein to unlock it during the time of our workout. And it's essentially, I tell people, it's like being able to eat a steak while you're working out. You're getting all the aminos that your muscle actually needs to repair, grow, and keep going
without chewing.
It's like taking vitamin D without K2, all that kind of stuff. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, in the absence of another ingredient, a lot of these things are rendered useless. You know what I mean?
I love what Steve says, because you don't have time to eat all this stuff. I mean, when Steve talks about it, I've used it since. When you become a fitness connoisseur, you become a professional eater.
Well, it's like you were saying, you don't realize things that aren't there. I'll use for an example. How many times have you seen tilapia written into a diet?
You don't.
We all did it, tilapia. Yeah. Now, how many times have you done your get ready for your cut and your elbows and your knees hurt and you just automatically assume it's because you're losing water? It's tilapia. A tilapia only has, I believe it's 3 and 9 and not 6. So because it's missing one of the essential oils, it dries you out.
I didn't know that.
I went down a rabbit hole when I was competing, and that was the end of tilapia. Yeah.
I see. There again. I mean, you can't be out there and not have people that have the knowledge that Blake has and the knowledge that Steve has. Steve has the advantage of having training and supplements. Blake works the heck out of people. He's got some equipment that I don't understand, but I've seen on shows.
Well, even without the equipment, Steve knows just as well as I do. If you just had a $100 Amazon rack in a barbell, we could probably, make some better athletes, right? So the reality of it is, though, there's still all these people walking out there, parents, kids, aspiring bodybuilders that would still like to figure it out on their own.
Well-
They go fork over the right money to, stop banging their head against the wall, and it'll save them a lot of heartache.
Because would you agree, Steve, that they are forking over
Oh, yeah.
money to the wrong people?
When people walk in the store, you've heard me to a million times. Go home and eat. Come back when your diet's right.
Steve, that's my favorite line.
Yeah, go home and
Hey,
eat.
why don't you go look up the definition of what a supplement is? You know,
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, it's called a supplement. Something is
sleep
missing
is
in your
spelled SLEEP. You
Yeah,
know?
you're missing something in your life to come in here. How about having fulfilling your life with the thing the body needs,
Right.
and then come back and talk?
And that's what I love about Steve. He's not going to sell you something just to make your trip worthwhile.
Oh man,
He's
you
going to
know
make
how hard that
spend your
is to find in the supplement industry.
Oh,
It's one of the
that-
wackiest.
That's why I bug Steve all the time. Hey, I'm gonna send so and so in, and they'll take care of it. They start talking to me about it. I go, no, I'm the wrong guy. And they think because they're looking at me and I might know what I'm talking about. I don't. I was a lab rat. I tell that. That's all I've ever done. I was a lab rat. I mean, I remember back in the day, I got a call from Joe's office, Weeders. They said, hey, there's this group at USC that wants to do a study on some guys working out. And I go, well, how's that going to work? They go, well, they got some new equipment. And we're talking late 70s, early 80s, that will show the muscles as red. It's kind of like a camera that, will show a muscle when it's working. And I go, well, yeah. So I went in and I was doing exercises and they were saying, hey, do you see this hot red area? That's the primary muscle that should be working right now. I go, well, that's not what I'm trying to work. They go, well, then change your positioning. And I did. I go, I learned so much just looking at the camera.
Yes.
I would sit there doing an exercise. I go, Tom, your shoulders are too red. Your lats aren't. And I know you want to train your lats in that muscle with low rows, but your shoulders are hot red, and your back are very.
Where can I get this machine?
Yeah. Well, no. It's called mirrors. We don't have any at Grindhouse.
Yeah.
And I walked into a gym with mirrors the other day and got the best pump of my life. I figured out it's just because I could watch it move.
Oh, that elbow's wrong, huh?
Yeah,
Dude, isn't that crazy?
but it's so true, isn't it? I mean, we need something to help us, and why not use the people around us that we're in a community with, and then the wrong people go to the internet, and how many people are telling the truth on the internet?
All right. But the real, I would say, like the real
We're on the
workout.
internet. Maybe that was the backhanded.
We talk about BS meters a lot on this show.
Yes.
I think the best way to develop one is just spending time in the trenches, right?
Yes.
Because you want a coach that's been there. I can't stand coaches that are coaching people to greater heights that they've never reached themselves or never even gotten close to.
Would you pay a golfer or would you pay a golf pro?
That's right. I'm paying
I
Chubbs Peterson.
Yes, I want the guy who's been on tour,
Right.
who's got a couple, he doesn't have to wear the green jacket,
No.
but I definitely want a guy that's been on tour for a little while.
100%.
That he can help me with my swing.
100%.
I'm not just going to get the bro off the street. So you did one golf tournament? Yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it. I can teach you how to do this.
Well, Steve, I'm just going to say, looking at you, you don't play golf.
No, I don't play anything but I don't even play video games anymore.
Well, I don't either. My wife, this is serious. We're getting way off track. We always do. My wife the other day came to me. She goes, because we're moving, and she's selling she's selling all her stuff. She goes, you mind if I sell the old video games? I go, no. Have you seen me play a video game for 3 years? She goes, I haven't. I go, wasn't that something that you were praying for that just got completely out of my
No way.
Yes.
She prayed it out of your life.
Oh,
dude.
I don't play at all. Not at all.
What did you play, Tom?
I played Call of Duty. I played Madden. I loved NCAA, but I saw why the NCAA couldn't do it anymore because
Yes.
they were making money off these kids.
I'm buying an Xbox just for the new one, dude. The NCAA 14 was my favorite game of all time. Dude.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
my wife told me the other day, she goes, you got a couple games that are expensive. I go, I had some of the good ones, I got some coming the
I can
year.
just imagine Pastor Tom getting screamed at by third graders on COD right now. And it's a great visual, man.
Well, I will tell you
Lose
this.
your Holy Ghost real quick. Huh?
My wife came to me and she just said, hey, the girls are realizing you play too much. So I brought the girls in. So they started playing Call of Duty and they started playing zombies.
Joke's on you, Mom.
We're going to spend quality time.
That's right. This is family time.
And so my son-in-law, one day when he was playing Madden with his wife now, my daughter Tessa, he looked at me and goes, thank you. I go, okay. And my wife goes, what's he thanking you for? Because I created a gamer.
It's amazing.
I did.
It's
And
amazing.
my oldest daughter goes, Dad, don't tell any of my friends I play games. I go, well, you do.
Dude, it's the cool thing now.
Well, I know, but back then when she was in high school, she was like, but she loved zombies. She loved that. And my wife would go, So I don't know if this worked well. So then it got to the point where my kids, I had to ask permission if I could play the games because I was getting caught up in it. And then I just don't play anymore because I know my wife was praying. So last night she goes, hey, can I sell you a video game? I go, why not? I don't play anymore. And I'm sure that was your prayer. So just sell them. And so now she's listed them and she's making money. I go, do I get any of that? She goes,
Dude, it blows my mind. It's the cool thing to be a Twitch streamer now.
I was going to say I would have Twitched when I was young. As much as
I don't even know what Twitch
I
is. What's
hit
Twitch?
it if I wanted a girlfriend.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
Oh, my daughters, both of them can play. It's so funny. My daughters used to make boys cry because they're playing Madden. My son-in-law did tell me Tessa knows what a blitz is. I go, oh, she can catch him every time. You know, he would try to come in and just play some hokey,
Man, that's crazy.
hokey defenses on her.
That's crazy.
And I go, oh no, she'll smell that out right away.
That's crazy.
But it was fun. But yeah, she sold that. My wife's selling all my video games.
Okay. Let's go back to the subject matter at hand. What supplements did you pick up from Steve? What do they do?
What I asked Steve to do, because I have a heart issue, but I know that nitric oxide helps with the expansion of the vessels. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so I asked Steve, can I get a nitric oxide? And the hidden conversation there was, he knows I got a heart problem. So I know when he brings me something, I don't have to worry about it. And this is a nitric oxide that he brought me.
Yes.
And then I asked him, I want to start diving into, because you guys know me, I don't mind getting edgy. I do have a heart issue, but my heart issue has been on the mends. So I'm ready to indulge again. And so I asked him to bring, could he get me a amino acid that's not going to have hidden ingredients in it.
That's always the catch.
That is always the catch. If you're out there and you don't have somebody that can help you on that, I used to be able to read labels. I can't read that anymore. I don't know what's in that anymore because there's always a patent product, right?
Yes.
And that's where it's hidden.
Yeah, that one's designed for outside of the essential amino acids. It's designed for hydration. There's lots of hydrating products in there. There's products in there for your joints and things like that. So you're going to find that there's a plethora of things in there that are outside of just feeding your muscle tissue. It's going to actually take care of your body.
Oh, and that's but that's why I felt I could trust him. So I was able to call him, and he was able to bring it to set tonight. And so if you have a relationship,
have you ever done glycogen? Have you ever tried glycogen, or did it come after?
You mean like Glycoject?
No, I never tried it.
Oh, enjoy your glycogen pump.
Well, can I take it?
Well, I like Demo Day from those guys.
That's what's in Pump 101.
Oh,
yes, it has a nitrous and glycogen.
Now, Steve, can I ask you this question? I'll ask on the air because I can ask off air. So I've got another blood test coming up. Should I do any of this or should I wait till after?
Wait till after.
Okay. That tells me a lot. I mean, I just learned a lot right now because I'm going to do it.
And it's nothing bad, but I know
I don't want to throw it off.
I just know your last blood test didn't go the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
So it's better just.
He goes, my heart's on the mend, but can I take this? No.
Well, no, it's just blood test. His red cells were too high last time.
Yes.
So rather than have anything foreign in the system when you go in, you want to go in completely fasted. Let the doctor see that you've been being a good boy.
Yeah.
And
well, if you're watching our show and you're out there, you're realizing that we are edgy guys, right? We were edgy with our Christianity, and our faith system is Christ, and we find freedom in that. 511 Media is faith, family, freedom in Christ, and I do believe that I do want to live longer to serve God, so I do want to listen to my doctors, but I also know that the way I look sometimes is what gets me in the front door to be able to share Christ.
Yeah, 100%.
And if I know that, I got to know people that are going to help me stay fit, and they're going to help me be able to look my best and live the longest. So that's really why I do it. People ask, people see me and they'll see if I'm getting lean or something. They go, "You're going to do a master's?" I got asked that the other day. I go, "Why in the world?" I go, I was once the best I could be, but I'll never be the best I could be.
my doctor asked me that on my last visit. He goes,
Well, you are. I was going to ask you that because Steve, you look great. I mean, I like to watch his old TikToks. If you want to see a man that is talented in many things, watch this guy's TikToks. But then I can't tell the difference between the ones current and the old ones because you are looking great, Steve.
Dude, that's quite the compliment.
It is.
Dang, Steve.
We're all about you guys, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what I asked my doctor. He goes, because I was 325 when I first started. I'm down to 275. So he was like, he doesn't bother me about my weight anymore. He's completely happy about me being that weight.
Why is that? My doctor told me he was 20.
Yeah. So
Okay.
And so he asked me, he goes, "You gonna do a show?" And I go, "Can I do drugs?" He goes, "They don't have old man shows without drugs." I go, "No, they do more drugs than the
They
kids."
do.
And he goes, "Well, never mind that idea." I said, "All right, cool, doc." I said, "If you were telling me I could do drugs, all right, my heart's doing great, huh?"
I just got excited here. If you're watching my blood pressure, it rise. Steve, that is so true. If you're out there, God bless you. But we get old for a reason.
Yes.
Man.
You got to hang up the posing trunks at one point.
But I did see a show the other day with some older guys where I was like, I could beat them.
Well, yeah, I can't even say it's natty. I mean, natty or natty.
It was an NPC show.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Was it oh gosh, Dave show in New Jersey?
No, it was West Coast.
And
which was even shocking to me.
I was like blown away if you're saying West Coast.
Yeah, exactly. It was a West Coast show, and it was a very smaller show, and I was like,
no, Dave Lieberman.
And I was sitting there looking, going, so they don't do drugs anymore? I can do that.
I love it. Well, I would like to see it get back to a healthier version.
I was looking at a video of Paul Dillette the other day, and Paul Dillette was an absolute freak.
He was.
And then you look at his physique compared to the new guys, and it's just like, oh my God. But then the new guys have so much oil in them, it's not even funny.
Well, there's so much deception.
Yes.
And if you're out there thinking that you're going to look like somebody standing on stage, don't, unless you're willing to die. I honestly, I don't know how to say it any other way.
Yes, there's no money in bodybuilding unless you're at the top of the ladder.
Zero. And they'll make you feel like you are making money when they give you an ambassadorship. Right?
10% off. Use my code.
Use the code. It raises 10% to take the 10%. And we're two guys that love the sport.
Yes.
Well, we had Eric Fropwell on last week, and he's in the middle of it. And Steve, you're in the middle of it because we're all body guys. How long does it take for somebody to come in that is on gear?
Instantaneously.
Yeah, and it's like throwing a good supplement on gears. Why do it?
Yes.
The gear's good, like you said. If your doctor said, "Yeah, you can do a little bit of this," should have been.
Not about it. It was an inside joke. I seriously doubt it. I like my personality without the stuff in my system.
Oh, I do.
It's a great. It's a different person.
Are you a better person to be around, Steve?
Oh my Lord! I want to call people up and apologize.
So I got a question for you, Tom. Now, so you lived that life. You were deep in it. You were in the depths. Without Jesus, would you be able to walk around natural the way you do?
No. I would still be that guy chasing a dream that's unattainable. I tell young guys now, and the fitness industry has never changed. You guys are experiencing it now. People you'll give them advice, and they'll take yours advice, and probably 3 other guys' advice. Right? I mean,
I tell people, if you enjoy competing, compete. But you know this. You know if you have it.
Yeah.
Out the gate, if you have it.
Well, I tell people just do it. They're like, what show can I compete in? I go, I really don't know. All I ever did was did a show, and if I won it, I went to the next level. And I was doing open shows at 19, and I do have a regret. I wish I would have taken advantage of my teenage years. I really wish I would have. I jumped too soon into the open division because people are like saying, "Oh, you're doing well," and I kept going up. I wish I would have done the Teen America. I really do, because I got a lot of friends that were in that show, and I wish I competed with them later on, and I won some and I lost some, but I'd like to been a teenager and used up that years and not really just jump too quickly.
Interesting.
But if you're out there, and it's so funny, you tell people I peeked over, I climbed to the top of the bodybuilding mountain, peeked over the other side, didn't see anything, and said I'm out. Because there is nothing on the other side.
I was joking with somebody the other day. I said it's the only sport where you can be a professional and still have an EBT card.
Man.
Well, it's so funny. A friend of mine who much better bodybuilder than me, and his name is JJ Marsh, and JJ beat me in the USA, and it was the USA that was just they were deciding on, are these good enough athletes to give another pro card at another show? Because back then there was only one way in, it was the America, and that was it. And then they said, hey, these guys are crowding up, we need some new pros in, and they said, let's open up another one. So JJ got his pro card there, but it wasn't meant to be. And then they pitched me one too, because yeah, but it was one of those things where it got crowded at the top because they were only letting the spigot open real quickly and turning off. But now I think they give them away in Cracker Jack boxes, don't they?
Third place gets a pro card.
Oh, so yeah,
God.
so the meaning when people come and go, I'm a pro, I'm like,
Well,
so-
well, now they charge you $1,000 a year to keep your pro status.
well, because it's a money generator, right?
That's why they have so many pros.
And now they've let pros in, and they have to qualify for the Olympia now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're a pro, you're just a pro. Now you got to qualify to be a top pro.
And I think that's what separates modern bodybuilding from past bodybuilding. Is modern bodybuilding, so many people get a pro card, so many people can get in, it gets washed out. Back in the day, it was only a limited amount of people.
It was all of us.
You had to win the overall, like the national.
Yep.
You had to win the overall to turn pro.
Yep.
The USA, you had to be the best of the best. So you had guys like Flex Wheeler waiting behind Lee Haney. These guys are just standing in line, waiting for the next person to fall off for their year. You know
what we had to do? I'd call Sean Ray and go, hey, you gonna do this show? I'd call JJ, and JJ, we traded wins back and forth, but I just call people, go, you gonna do the show? I'm analyzing my possibility.
Yeah.
What's my
I'm gonna fork over $5,000 to do a show and come in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, because not everybody was gonna do every show. And so it's just like, and so when somebody would pop out, you would say, okay, you're going to do the nationals and I'll do the USA. If you're not doing the USA, I'm doing the nationals. I mean, that was just something we did between each other.
Yes.
We just call the phone.
People would die down to miss their weight category. No, I'm going down.
Yeah.
I'm going up.
We would just call and just kind of get an idea of what's my chances. And when you go away and I go, you liar, I thought you weren't coming. I did. I said this on the show a while back. I had a friend, Glenn Birkenkamp. He traded me for my last show. And he went to the New Jersey, the 87 New Jersey. And I said, anybody worry about it? And he goes, no. I get to the weigh-ins, and there's a guy named Vince Taylor that won the New Jersey. And I looked at Glenn. I go, so what was wrong with you that day? What was wrong with your eyes? He goes, well, I was like, this guy's phenomenal. Just didn't.
Is that when you walked outside and said, hey, let's go eat a pizza?
Well,
you haven't been on stage yet. No, I already know who's winning. Let's go eat a pizza.
So yeah, it's a fun, but there again, it goes back to having knowledge. And if you're out there and you're doing it, enjoy it. Like Steve said, enjoy it. It's like the kids you get, Blake, you get the high end of the athletes in town, in Kern County, and they come in and I love it when you said you have machines at your gym. When a mom comes in and says, she's the best volleyball player in the town, you're like, well, I got data, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long ago did it take you to run them through it? And you can say, well, you're not the best volleyball player in town.
The dynamic warm up.
Yeah. You go, I think I've got 2 or 3 that
I've got kids that their parents bring them to me saying they're like, top of their class, whatever. The coolest thing since sliced bread, and they can't skip. You would not believe, Steve, you're rolling your eyes. Hey, you would not believe how common that is today.
What's so funny? The other day I skipped because I can't run. And my girls looked at me and go, what did you just do,
It's
Dad?
not cool when you're 14, man.
I go, that's called skipping. They go, but how do you do that? I go, you guys don't know how to skip.
Bro.
And they were great athletes.
Bro.
We have to do that for track.
But dude, these kids play one sport now.
You're right.
Nuts, Steve.
You're right. You're
It's
right.
crazy.
You're
Okay,
right.
so,
You're
hey,
right. You're right.
That should be what we talk about next week.
Yeah,
I'm going to start getting some Olympic level coaches on my previous show. Maybe they can join us for hours. But we need to start talking about physical development at an early age, because I'm sure that you guys would even contend as bodybuilders. Athletes are athletes on the stage or on the court or on the field. And wouldn't you know that a lot of the best guys that we spend a lot of time talking about played a lot of sports growing up.
Yes.
So I'm getting ready to adopt 2 horses that were both thoroughbreds, and they raced. And I asked the guy, I go, so can I switch them to Western? Because they're right now having English tack. And he goes, tell them they're horses. he goes, they just are fast.
Yeah.
And they're built for horses, but you can throw a Western saddle on them and they'll take you for a trail ride.
It's not like going pitcher to first base, Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of like athletes.
Yeah.
They're just an athletic horse.
Have you ever been on a thoroughbred?
Not yet, but I'm getting ready to. A lot of
Have
quarter
you,
horses.
Steve?
Yes.
Oh,
I've been
you
on-
were this thoroughbred, huh?
I've been on. I used to have quarter horses and paint, but I'm doing it because it's a rescue, and they're
Okay.
rescuing from the. They're all done, so they're washed up at 4,
Yeah.
and
He
so
connects with them on a spiritual
I
level.
do.
We're all washed up together.
I am. I'm going to have a little. My ranch is going to be small, but it's called Touchstone Rescue Ranch
Okay.
because I have a dog that I've rescued. Jesus rescued me
Yes.
and my wife, and I'm going to have 2 rescue horses. And I thought, let's call it Rescue Ranch.
It's got a nice ring to it.
You know me, I go into themes. I'm not a hard guy to figure out. And these horses, if I found out that they rescue them from the racing industry, and they actually have, surgeries that the vet that works for the Kentucky Derby will do on them after they're given to the rescue, because they come out of there injured. They're not going to get rid of a perfectly good racehorse if you're making money on him. And so
They stud them out and
yeah, and so they basically, he fixes them, and they're injured, and yeah. So it's just it's called Second Stride, and it's like, hey, they can do other things besides just run quickly counterclockwise. He goes, they all pull to the left. I go, why? Because they run this way. I go, why do they run this way? He goes, Tom, I'm starting to try to make sense out of another sport.
Absolutely. It'll be so much fun, dude.
Yeah.
Coaching things that can't talk back to you. So, guys, hey, this has been another episode of Muscle Matters. Your host tonight, myself and Mr. Steve Southers. We enjoy these every single week. We especially enjoy the time we get with Pastor while he's still in town. And it might get a little tougher to do these things going forward.
No, I'll
but
just be on that side of the camera.
good.
very
And then-
good.
and then
I can't
we'll
wait
be
to do
doing
that, man.
so.
All right.
Awesome. We can also mute him when he starts getting a little mouthy, So, hey,
That'll be all the time.
it might be a
Don't
blessing.
turn Tom's mic on.
Now,
Josh.
Steve, tell our audience where they can find you, big guy.
Well, you can find us at 7420 District Boulevard, family store called Sportlander West.
And you
He's
need to
the
use that. You
He's
need
the
to use
only
it.
guy on at all of 511 Media that we have to actually take away the bass out of his EQ settings. All right?
I have to talk.
You ever listen to yourself live? They do you so dirty, bro.
I literally have to talk an octave up, or people don't understand me.
Well, he
You're
was-
such a choir
Took
boy.
me years to go
he,
up.
he was the bouncer to let him in. He could be a DJ inside. I think he could run probably drinks too, right?
The whole
Ooh,
thing, dude.
yes.
You'd be a one-stop shop at Moss Isley Cantina. Now, Tom, tell us where they can find you.
TomTouchstone.com. Real simple.
Oh, that was official.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that one.
Oh,
Hey,
you
guys, you
weren't?
can always find me at Blake Bernard Coaching on
Oh,
Instagram,
Steve.
Grindhouse_SC. Until next time, guys, muscle always matters.